Hello, hello, and welcome to Art House Garage, the snob-free film podcast where we make art house, indie, classic, and foreign cinema accessible to the masses. I'm your host, Andrew Sweatman, and today I've got an interview with the filmmakers behind a new film called Over Under. Over Under tells the story of Violet and Stella, two 9-year-old girls and best friends, and the film follows them over the years through family hardships, personal milestones, and even conflict with one another. This film is beautifully frank, and what I mean by that is the film shows us some parts of growing up that we don't often see on screen, especially as it pertains to the experiences of young girls. I found this film to be incredibly engrossing and emotional. It premiered at the San Francisco International Film Festival today, April 30th, 2022. The film is directed by Sophia Silver and produced by Cooper Raiff, who you may recognize as the director of Shithouse and Cha-Cha Real Smooth. The film stars two young actors, Emajean Bullock and Anastasia Veronica Lee, both of whom give very strong performances in this film. I was so lucky to sit down via Zoom with the director and the two stars just the other day to talk about the film and the care that went into making it. So here is a clip from Over Under, followed by my interview with director Sophia Silver and stars Emajean Bullock and Anastasia Lee.
Maybe have this strip down. Doesn't look good. Look at me. Looks better that way. Do you have any extra concealer?
For what?
I like your shoes. Thanks.
Is that your stomach?
Little natural blush. Okay, we're ready.
Okay.
Well, my name's Andrew Sweatman with the Art House Garage podcast, as I was saying, with Sophia Silver, the writer and director of the new film Over Under, as well as the film's two stars, Emajean Bullock, who plays Violet in the film, and Anastasia Lee, who plays Stella. Question is for you. I understand this film is based on a lot of your actual experiences with your relationship with your co-writer, Sianni Rosenstock. One of the things I loved about this film is just how frank it is, showing some parts of growing up that you don't see on screen all the time. And so I'm just curious how it felt putting yourself out there in a way, putting your life on the screen. Was that challenging?
Yeah, it was vulnerable for sure. It was very vulnerable,
Mm-hmm.
but it was also very healing and refreshing to be so honest about moments that we actually encountered together and things we experienced.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that people who watch the film can reflect on this time in their lives and some of these similar moments that they might have encountered and remember that we're all going through it, and it's painful and it's hard, but it's so human and normal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, Imogen and Anastasia, I'm so excited to talk to you as well. You both give such incredible performances in this film. Had you guys met before making the film, or what was it like getting to know each other
Yes.
and kind of developing the
Yes. So
chemistry? Yeah,
so
go ahead.
it was a bit harder just because she lived well because she lives I'm in New York, I'm in LA, but we FaceTimed a lot, and we would play games together.
Oh, great.
But also like the 5 months, I believe, before it, just like preparing, and we also lived together while we were shooting, so we
Mm,
had lots of time to create a realistic bond, which was very fun.
that's great.
Yes, I definitely feel like the
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
sorry.
No,
The
yeah.
5 months that we got to get ready and study the script together, we kind of,
Mhm,
well, Sophia was very like free. Okay. So it was like
mhm.
very free learning the script. She let us do a bunch of improvs, and it was really, really awesome. And it was definitely like a really great bonding time between me and Emajean.
That's so cool. That really comes through in the film. Like, if you told me that you guys have been friends forever, I would believe it. Having seen the film, so I think that really works. The film takes place over a few years, and we kind of see Stella and Violet getting older. I guess it's sort of an acting question, but also a production question. How long did it actually take to film? Um, did time actually pass, or was a lot of it done in makeup and costuming?
Makeup and costuming, we have to
Mm,
thank for that. But also, again, as the girls said, we had 5 months of rehearsal. And
mm,
so these two actresses knew their characters and knew this friendship so deeply in their bones that even though we had 19 days of shooting, and as it goes with independent filmmaking, that you can't have the ideal schedule. Like ideally, I would have loved to shoot all of 9, all of 10, all of 12, all of 13, but we were
mm-hmm.
jumping around from 9 to
Yeah.
13 to 12 to 10 in the same day, every day. But they were so dropped into these characters and so prepared
Wow.
that it really didn't matter what scene we were shooting.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, because it is in the makeup and the costuming, but so much in the performances as well. I think you can tell from year to year that both of you just act a little bit older, and as those relationships progress, so that's really amazing. For the actors, I'm curious. Again, I'm really impressed with your work in this film. Was What was the most challenging part for you for making the film?
So for me, my character was Stella, and there were lots of very sad scenes because my
Mm-hmm.
mother in the movie was going through chemo because of her cancer, and it was just really, really tough and keeping all my emotions inside because I didn't want to worry other people. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like what was really challenging for me to do was some of the sad scenes, especially like times in the beach or when my dad had to come and pick me up from Violet's house because I couldn't make it through the night.
Yeah, I agree with Anna, just like the sad scenes, and I remember especially the scene when I come to him school, and I think that Lauren is my friend, but then all of a sudden she acts
Mm-hmm.
like my bully again, and I just remember that was really hard, just because the transition from happy to I'm just sad. But once like I really put myself in her shoes, I just like couldn't stop crying. And then me and Sophia like talked for 30 minutes, and it was just like a really hard thing because what what Violet was experiencing was just so awful.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I mean, both the moments that you guys mentioned are some of the I think strongest in the film, and yeah, that's really amazing that you're able to empathize so much with what your character is going through. That actually kind of gets at another question I was going to ask you, Sophia. Just recently, there's kind of a trend I think in just like movies about childhood that that are taking kids' feelings really seriously. I think like Come On last year, or even like Petite Maman. I really loved last year. How did you go about writing parts for children that felt so real and grounded?
It wasn't even like consciously this decision of let's write these parts for kids. It was so organic, because it was
Mm-hmm.
Sianni and I telling our story. So we
Mm-hmm.
just dug into the truth, what we really experienced, and then through the writing process realized this is such an underrepresented um, group, like
Mm-hmm.
children being the protagonists and their experiences and the joys of childhood and all of the agony of childhood. And so from reflecting on that time and healing some of those wounds together in our writing process, it was so clear that this needed to be a part of the conversation. Like, we need more stories like this where we are looking at childhood and looking at what we all go through in childhood and what we all go through in adolescence.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, and especially for young girls too. I mean, I can imagine uh, young girls going through these things and never having seen something like this on screen, or never, having a friend to talk about these things, seeing your film and feeling seen and feeling um, just heard in that way. I think that could be a really powerful thing. So, yeah, I think that's one of my favorite things about the film, is that it kind of goes there in a way that I didn't expect when I started watching.
If I may add to the question that you
Mhm.
asked me in EJ,
Yeah.
um, even though some of the most challenging scenes were one of the sad ones, there was this one particular scene where I was kissing the boy on the beach, and we had to make it look like that I was going to kiss him, and it took about 17 takes. It was
That's
really,
really
really
funny.
challenging.
Yeah, that's funny. And you think about the sad scenes being the tougher ones, but
Yeah.
yes, sometimes the funny ones are hard too. I bet. That's funny. Well, actually, this kind of gets to something you said earlier, Anastasia. This, I guess, really more of a question for Sophia. But the film is told mostly through the perspectives of the two girls, but there are just a few exceptions that I think. So some of the hardest moments or when we see the parent characters having issues, and at first the kids don't know what's going on, but the audience does, and that's kind of subtly woven into it. I'm curious, Sophia, how you balance that idea of how much does the audience know, how much do Violet and Stella know, and how the pacing to let those things open up.
Yeah, well, I think I wanted to capture honestly what I think children experience, that a lot of things are
Mm-hmm.
happening peripherally or in the background, and sometimes their kids are so present in what they're doing in front of them, they're not aware of what's happening until
Mm-hmm.
they are. And then it's all they can think about. So, and that happens as we get older and older. So I think that's what I hope comes through, that, initially there are these situations at home that they're unaware of, and then all of a sudden they are, and to see
Yeah.
how it affects them and their sense of safety and
Mm-hmm.
feeling like, is everything going to be okay, which I think kids, once they're dialed into that, it's hard to forget.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sort of that loss of innocence, which I think the film captures really well. Yeah. Well, for Anastasia and Imogen, I'm curious, do you have actors or other performers or filmmakers that you look up to, that you try to either emulate or found inspiration from?
Um, I I look up and I've told Sophia this before. I look up I'm a lot from Zendaya, just because like she
Yeah.
really started low and she worked like her way up,
Mm.
and yeah, and she just really inspires me because she's such an amazing
I was
actress.
literally
She's so
just
great.
about to say Zendaya. Um,
That's
I
great.
watched Euphoria, and Zendaya was just amazing in it. And
Mm-hmm.
I completely look up to her. She's like, well, I wouldn't say that her character is a model, but Zendaya, the person,
Yeah.
she just, her acting is amazing.
Mm. Yeah, Zendaya is so great. Definitely one of my favorite actors of kind of the younger set coming up. That's really cool. Sophia, what about you, for filmmakers or for performers? Is there, anyone that you drew inspiration from as you were writing or directing this?
Yeah, well, my background is in acting, and I've never like consciously set out to direct. It just happened
Mm.
because of the script and it being so personal to me. um Filmmaking wise, well, you said Petite Maman. Celine Sciamma is one of my
Mm.
absolute favorite
Oh,
filmmakers.
great.
I am so inspired by her work. I
Mm.
think that she is so tender and intimate and honest in her filmmaking. And
Mm.
I, as a viewer, when I watch her work, just feel so seen, like
Mm.
so understood, especially the story she's telling about the female experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm also a big fan of Andrea Arnold. I just love her
Mm.
documentary style filmmaking and
Yeah.
showing the private moments that her characters experience. So those are two big inspirations for me for sure.
That's great. Well, you mentioned never intended to direct until this kind of came up. Do you want to continue directing, or what do you think?
Absolutely. I feel through this process directing has become my true north. And I really didn't see that happening. I think acting is the most vulnerable thing we can do as in terms of like artistic expression and performative expression, but I love my background having acted and I would still like to continue acting, but I love working with actors so much.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Well, one more question for the actors, and I think we're almost out of time, but Anastasia and Emajean, this is kind of a silly question, but do you guys like watching yourself on screen?
Honestly,
No.
no.
No, not at
It,
all.
it
Like
feels weird
I don't
and
know. Sorry.
that's
You
okay.
go first. Okay.
It
On
feels
okay, you go first.
you can go.
Um, it's like I just feel like it feels weird because you notice every single thing that that you do wrong. Also just like hearing your voice, it
Yeah.
sounds completely different than you think it does. And I feel like I can barely rewatch the auditions that I film, so I'm a bit nervous for watching my movie, I think 2 times.
That's great.
I'm
I
so
Go
nervous
ahead.
too. Well, it's mainly because like I don't know, when you look at yourself, it's like I don't know, it doesn't even look like you. It's so weird because it's not what you
Yeah.
would expect.
Yeah, and maybe your clothes are a little different, and your makeup's different than you would have in a normal day. So it's like, is that me on screen? Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I just with
and
voice. Yeah,
especially
yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
sorry. Go ahead.
I know you're. I was just gonna say I agree with you. Just hearing my own voice. I'm a podcaster, so I listen to my own voice all the time, and I hate it. But yeah, what were you gonna
Yeah.
say?
Oh, and especially in the movie, since I don't really look like myself, like when I'm younger Violet, I have this crazy frizzy hair. I mean, when I'm
Mm,
older Violet, I have straight hair, and I naturally like have curly hair. So I'm just and I don't wear makeup, so I'm very interested to see how I'm gonna feel about myself looking very different from
mm,
like my actual self, I guess.
yeah, yeah. That's really interesting. Well, I think we're almost out of time. One last thing. There's this beautiful recurring motif in the film of the morning moths. I'm curious, is that real? Is that from your actual experience?
Yeah, actually that game I did not play with Sianni, but that
Mm-hmm.
was a game that I played privately by myself all of the time. I truly believe that butterflies were fairy messengers and
Mm,
would catch them and make wishes to them constantly.
I love it. I thought that was a great way to kind of capture that that they're feeling and all of that. So, well, thank you guys so much for your time. This has been a real pleasure talking to you. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Lovely.
you.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Andrew.
Yeah.
Have
Thank
a
you.
great day.
Wonderful
Bye.
day.
Thanks. You too.
Bye.
All right. Bye.